Good day, everyone. I'm Maylay Aldoa. I'm here today to tackle about association analysis. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, the class should be able to number one, define association analysis, understanding what association analysis is. Number two, identify core components, learning the key parts of association analysis. Number three, describe common association rule mining algorithms, knowing the methods, uses, and association analysis. Association rules analysis is a technique used to discover relationships between items in a dataset. The goal is to uncover how items are associated with each other. For example, in a supermarket, it might reveal that customers who buy diapers also tend to buy beer. These discovered relationships are called association rules. Association rule discovery. It takes a data set of transactions, or each transaction is a set of items, and aims to find relationships between items. The output is a set of rules showing that if certain items are bought together, another item is likely to be bought as well. Example. The example shows that if milk is purchased, Coke is also likely purchased. And if diapers and milk are purchased, beer is also purchased too. Marketing and sales promotion. This explains how association rule discovery can be used in marketing and sales promotion. It uses the example of a rule where bagels or antecedent are associated with potato chips or consequent. In analyzing the consequent or potato chips helps determine strategies to boost potato chip sales. In analyzing the antecedent bagels helps understand the impact of discontinuing bagels which other products might be affected. In analyzing both antecedent and consequent together, suggest what products should be sold alongside bagels to increase potato chip sales. Essentially, it helps with product placement and promotional strategy.
Association role discovery. Supermarket shelf management. Goal: to identify items that are bought together by sufficiently many customers. Approach: process the point of sale data collected with barcode scanners to find dependencies among items. A classic rule: if a customer buys diaper and milk, then he is very likely to buy beer. Therefore, it's not unusual to see beer placed near diapers in the store. So don't be surprised if you find 6 packs stacked next to diapers. Association rule mining, which is a method used to find patterns in a set of transactions. Market basket transactions. This refers to the list of items purchased together in a single transaction. The table shows examples of transactions with different combination of items. Example of association rules. If a customer buys diapers, they are likely to also buy beer. If a customer buys both milk and bread, they might also buy eggs and Coke. If a customer buys beer and bread, they might also buy milk. The implication means that items co-occur together frequently, but it does not imply that one item causes the purchase of another. Item set. This is a collection of one or more items. For example, milk, bread, diaper is an item set. K item set. An item set that contains K items. For instance, a 3-item set would contain 3 items. Support count. This is the frequency of occurrence of an item set in the transactions. For example, the support count of milk, bread, diaper is 2, meaning this combinations appears in 2 transactions. Support. This is the fraction of transactions that contain an item set. For example, the support of milk, bread, diaper is 2 over 5, meaning these combinations appear in 2 out of 5. frequent item set. An item set whose support is greater than or equal to a minimum support threshold or means this means that the item set appears frequently enough in the transactions to be considered significant. Definition: association rule. Association rule is an implication expression of form X and Y where X and Y are item sets. For example, milk, diaper, and beer indicates that if milk and diaper are both together, beer is likely to be both as well. Rule evaluation metrics. Support. This is the fraction of transactions that contain both X and Y. It is calculated as the number of transactions containing X and Y divided by the total of transactions. Confidence. This measures how often items in Y appear in transactions that contain X. It is calculated as the number of transactions containing both X and Y divided by the number of transactions containing X. In the given example, the support for the rule milk, diaper, and beer is 0.4 and the confidence is 0.67. Association rule mining task, which involves finding patterns in transaction data. Given a set of transactions T, the goal is to find all association rules that meet certain criteria. Support. The rule must have a support value greater than or equal to a minimum support threshold. Means of support measures how frequently the items in the rule appear together in the transactions. Confidence. The rule must have a confidence value greater than or equal to a minimum confidence threshold. MINCOF. Confidence measures how often the rule is true given the items on the left side of the rule. Brute force approach. This is a straightforward method to find association rules, but it is computationally intensive. List all possible association rules. Generate all possible combinations of items to form potential rules. Compute the support and confidence for each rule. Calculate how often each rule appears in the transaction support and how often the rule is true confidence. Prone rules that fail the Minsoff and Minkoff threshold. Remove rules that do not meet the Minsoff and Minkoff threshold. Computationally prohibited. This approach can be very slow and resource intensive because it involves evaluating a large number of possible rules, especially with large datasets.
Many association rules. TID items. Bread, milk, bread, diaper, beer, egg. Milk, diaper, beer, coke. Bread, milk, diaper, beer. 5. Bread, milk, diaper, coke. Example of rules. Milk, diaper, beer. Parenthesis S equals 0.4. C equals 0.67. Milk, diaper, beer. If a customer buys milk and diaper, there's certain probability they'll also buy beer. The numbers is 0.4, C equal 0.67 represent the support and confidence of this rule. Mining association rules. Two-step approach. Number 1. Frequent item set generation. Generate all items that do support MINSAF. Frequent item set generation. This step identifies all items sets that meet a minimum support. In fact, this means items that appear frequently in the data to be considered significant. Number 2. Rule generation. Generate high confidence rule from each frequent set items where each rule is a binary partitioning of a frequent item set. Rule generations. One frequent item set are formed. This can generate association rules from them. It focuses on rules with high confidence, meaning if the F part of the rule is true, the then part is also likely true. Frequent item set generation. Given D items, there are 2D possible candidate item sets. If you have D items, there are 2D possible candidate item sets. This means that even a moderately sized datasets can lead to an incredibly large numbers of potential item sets to evaluate, making the
this slide, we're showing the strategy used to generate frequent item sets using the a priori algorithm. As mentioned in the previous slide, we apply the a priori principle, which means if an item set is infrequent or does not appear often in the data, then all of its supersets can automatically be skipped or ignored. In this diagram, we can see the item set AB, which was identified as infrequent. Because of that, all of its supersets like ABC, ABCD, up to ABCDE are no longer included in the next steps. The red outline in the diagram highlights these prone item sets, meaning they were removed based on the a priori principle. Since we already know that one of their subsets is infrequent, we don't consider them anymore. A priori algorithm. This slide shows how the a priori algorithm works step by step, which is used to identify frequent item sets in a data set. The first thing we need to do is let k equal 1, meaning we start with item sets of length 1 or single items. Then, we generate all possible frequent item sets of length 1. From there, we repeat the process as long as new frequent item sets are being found. In each round, we do the following. First, generate candidate item sets of length k plus 1 based on the previous items of length k. Second, prone or remove candidate item sets that have infrequent subsets. This uses the a priori principle, which states that if a part subset is infrequent, then the whole set is also infrequent. Then, count the support, or how many times each candidate item set appears in the database. Lastly, remove the infrequent candidates and keep only the frequent item sets. So basically, the goal of a priori is to find all combination of items that frequent appear together, but in the most efficient way using pruning to save time by not checking invalid combinations. Factors affecting complicity. For this slide, I'll be discussing the factors affecting complicity in data mining algorithms, especially in the context of frequent item set mining like the a priori algorithm. The first factor is the choice of minimum support threshold. When the support threshold is set lower, more item sets are considered frequent. At first, this might seem beneficial, but the downside is it increases the number of candidate item sets and the maximum possible length of those item sets. As a result, the algorithm performs more calculations, making the entire process more complex and time-consuming. The second factor is dimensionality of the dataset, or simply the number of items. As the number of items increases, more space is needed to store the support count of each item. And when more frequent item sets are found, it also leads to higher computation time and increased input-output cost. Now let's continue with more that affect the complicity of the a priori algorithm. The first is the size of database. Since a priori makes multiple passes through the dataset, more transactions need to be processed when the database is large. That means as the number of transactions increases, the algorithm's runtime also increases, making it time longer to complete. The next factor is the average transaction width, which refers to how many items are included in a single transaction. When the data is dense, meaning more items per transaction, the transaction width increases. This leads to a higher number of frequent item sets and more subsets to check. This also affects the traversal of the hash tree, making the process even more time-consuming. Now, let's move on to rule generation. Once we have the frequent item sets, the next step is to generate rules from them. So how do we do that? Given a frequent item set L, we find all non-empty subsets f of L, then we form a rule f implies plus minus f and check if it meets the minimum confidence requirement. In short, the rule have have high enough confidence to be considered valid. For example, if we have a frequent item set like A, B, C, D, we can generate rules like A, B, C implies D, A, B, D implies C, A implies B, C, D, and many more, as shown on the slide. Basically, we're just breaking down the item set into all possible combinations of antecedent and consequent. Here's an important point. If the size of the item set, if the size of L is equal to K, then we can have to up 2 to the power of K minus 2 possible candidate rules. We exclude empty sets and the rule where the item set point to itself.
This slide explains rules generation in association rule mining, particularly focusing on the a priori algorithm. The goal is to generate association rules like A implies from frequent item sets like A, B, C, D. K.1 Confidence and anti-monotone property. Confidence measure how often a rule has been found to be true. Anti-monotone property. If a rule fails a confidence threshold, all its more specific rules with larger RHS will also fail. But confidence does not always have anti-monotone property. In general, meaning C, ABC implies D can be greater or smaller than C, AB implies D. More items on the LHS does not guarantee higher or lower confidence. K.2 Anti-monotonicity within the same item set. If rules are generated from the same item set, confidence is anti-monotone with respect to the number of items. On the right-hand side, RHS for item set L, A, B, C, D, the confidence of the rule A, B, C implies D is greater than or equal to the confidence of A, B implies C, D, which is greater than or equal to the confidence of A implies B, C, D. This means, as you move more items to the RHS of the rule, confidence typically drops. Confidence is the anti-monotone with respect to the number of items of the right-hand side. This helps us prone rules. If a rule fails, we can avoid generating its more complex version. Rule generation for a priori algorithm. The Lotus diagram shows how rules are formed from a frequent item set like A, B, C, D. Nodes present possible rules. Edges show how rules are derived by splitting LHS and RHS. Prone rules, lower left, these are rules not generated due to low confidence. Low confidence area. This area is the Lotus, has rules with low confidence and can't be skipped. Generate rules from frequent item sets. Use confidence threshold to prone low quality rules. Confidence become anti-monotone with RHS increases. A useful property for rule pruning in a priori. This slide focuses on pattern evaluation and how to compute the interestingness measure of association rules and data mining. Pattern evaluation. Association rule algorithms like a priori often generate too many rules, and many of them are uninteresting, not useful, or obvious. Redundant, already represented by another rule. Example of redundancy. Rule ABC implies D, and rule AB implies D are redundant if both have the same support and confidence. This means adding C didn't change the usefulness of the rule. Solution. Use interestingness measures to prone remove unnecessary rules. Rank the rules by how meaningful they are. Computing interestingness measure. To better evaluate rules, we use a contingency table which breaks down how often Y and X occur together or separately. Contingency table for rule X implies Y. F11 is the frequency of transaction where both X and Y appear together. F10 is the number of transactions where X appears but S does not. F01 is the number of transactions where Y appears but X does not. F00 is the number of transactions where neither X and Y appear. Other notations, F1 plus is the total number of transactions where X appears whether or not Y is present. That's F11 plus F10. F plus 1 is the total number of transactions where Y appears, which is F11 plus F01. Vertical bar T, vertical bar, or simply T, represents the total number of transactions in the dataset. Purpose of this table, using these values, you can compute different interstingsness measures such as lift, leverage, convection, chi-square. This help determine if a rule is statistically significant, not just frequent. This slide explains a major limitation of using confidence as a measure for association rules, using the rule T and coffee as an example. Understanding the table, the 2 times 2 table shows a count of people who drink tea and or coffee. Rule being evaluated, tea, coffee. The support of tea implies coffee is equal to probability of tea and coffee occurring together. That's 15 out of 100 transactions, or 15%. The confidence of rule T implies coffee is equal to the probability of coffee given tea. That's 15 out of 20, or 0.75. What's the problem? The overall number of coffee drinkers is 90 out of 100, or 0.9, meaning 90% of people drink coffee, even if they don't drink tea. So, even though the confidence of rule T implies coffee is 0.75, the baseline probability of drinking coffee is already 0.9. This tells us that the rule T and coffee is actually misleading because drinking tea lowers the likelihood of drinking coffee. Confidence does not account for the base rate support of the consequent. This leads to false impressions of associations, overstated importance of weak or misleading rules. That's all. Thank you.